at my friend Kai's house. He's a total motorcycle fanatic. Says he's got some project that I might be interested in. I've been friends with Kai for almost 15 years. He's been an editor for Easy Riders forever, so I know he's got some treasure in his garage.
I said, well, come on by and I'll show it to you. I'm amazed I hadn't shown it to him all these years.
See some Harleys and stuff.
Well, it has its own special place of honor.
Huh. So I'm thinking I'm gonna walk in and go into his garage, check out some cool bikes. He makes me take a hard right turn around the camper into the back 40, and he's got something old from the 70s. All right. Looks like a piece of a Volkswagen.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got.
This is like a raw piece of steel. It's definitely part of a Volkswagen. It's got some weird frame attached to it. The framework was pretty rough, but what he had there was a great looking, old school fiberglass trike. Kai is a hardcore motorcycle guy. He's all about the two wheels, and that's why this trike was on the side.
One of the things that really impressed me about Ian was one of his early videos where he used the steel cap from his boot and put it on as sort of like an air scope on the fender of the car that he had just built. That was like the final touch. And it was just so perfect, you know? I mean, how much more inventive and creative can you get?
Well, it's a great starting point, man. I'll definitely do it up.
You're most welcome to it.
I think I'm gonna change your mind about trikes when you see this.
If anybody could change my mind, you could.
All right, man. I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay.
Whoa! Watch your face. Coming in. All right. Wait a second. This frame is totally bent. That's why it was laying in the backyard. It's almost like forensic science. You know, you get the body parts to the lab and you assess them, and this thing was bent. This thing got crashed, and that's why it was disassembled, I'm sure of it. It's kind of a bummer that this thing is bent. I was hoping to just like style up the body and reassemble it, but this frame is toast. I'm gonna have to build a whole new one. It's a long walk back from Kai's. Watch it, Beast. It was just a burning question why this thing was disassembled and thrown in the backyard. That's the telltale right there. Somebody crashed it. But it's all about this fiberglass body. That's the thing. I don't know what those people were thinking back in the 70s, because this is a pretty wacky ride, all in all. But that's what I like about it. It's weird. Standing on their own, the front is one look and the rear is another look. You got this really cool, almost like a waterfall setup with multiple levels here. And then it goes right back to this strange faceted cubist thing. So it's two different styles completely. It's just gonna be a couple little changes. The first being I'm just gonna rebuild the whole motorcycle. This is an ugly kit. I've never made any claim that these were good-looking bikes, you know? So I'm just gonna cut it apart and make something that I like. Yeah. It's just small. I didn't realize they were this small. Or maybe I didn't realize I was this big. You see pictures of guys on them and they just look like, yeah, you know. But my legs are almost as long as the thing. So the handlebars are right here. It's like a little mini bike. I want my arms like this. Well, fortunately, the frame is trash. So all I gotta do is cut the frame off and I'll just make a new frame. Pretty simple. Yeah, let's get to it. I thought there was something too heavy with this whole chassis. They filled this with lead to weight it down, I'm sure. I'm not gonna fill my frame with lead. I gotta come up with something better. So that means you need some weight on the front. I think I'm gonna have to build a very heavy chassis. which is cool. I'll make a cool tube chassis and just try to keep the weight as forward as possible, probably with an 8-inch stretch from where it was. So I'm just gonna cut this fiberglass body in half again, set the back on, and just see where the nose ends up. I'll put it 8 inches away from where it was and see how it looks. We're gonna do a little milk crate mock-up. Hey, look, this has been done by all the great builders throughout time. See, now there's a little more room. Handlebars here. It'll be easy to do. It'll also help a little more weight, more forward, center of gravity, etc. I'm gonna be stuck on this frame if I don't have the proper fork dimensions. The tire diameter is very critical, and then of course all the pieces that hold that stuff in place. The arc in these tubes is the shape of the fiberglass body. I'm gonna use 1.5 DOM, it's 1/8 wall tube, it's roll cage stuff. And I'm gonna come forward with 4 tubes, almost like a truss. They're gonna come forward and curve up below the fiberglass body. The old frame was a really basic shape. It was a rectangle tube with a gusset in it, and no wonder it bent. My challenge is to create a metal structure that's cool looking and super strong. Now I'm gonna try to one-up this design by making it look a little cooler and way stronger. I'm gonna use 1.5 inch round tube, DOM, it's roll cage material. I'm gonna curve it so that it follows a nice graceful arc, just like the neck of this fiberglass body. And I'm gonna make 4 tubes, kind of like a teepee on its side that goes right up to the headset. Massive curved tube steel structure. Just to fit these up real quick, I'm gonna tack it in place. You could build this thing out of a giant piece of I-beam and it would be incredibly strong. It is form over function, I think. I want it to look cool, but incorporating a great strength factor in it. That's why using these 4 tubes, it's a pretty delicate, graceful looking design, but it's super strong. It's like the works of nature, you know? You look at your skeleton, it's a pretty cool thing without the skin, you know? Everything should follow suit, right? So even though this is underneath this fiberglass body, it should still be something cool looking. See, your forks are pivoting on the center arc, so they won't steer very far. See that? So that's there, you only have that much steering. So I gotta bring them in. Now it'll steer. See, before the tubes are so wide that these things wouldn't turn, but now it's fine. This piece is gonna get cut back out. My whole concept is just fitting these tubes up to it. That's why I'm only gonna spot weld everything. I'm gonna make 2 more lower tubes the same way as I did the upper ones. Put it through the roller, trim them back. That's next. I'm building my own custom thing, and that's really what it's about. You know, everybody's got their idea. I see pieces of this machine that I don't like, so they're going away. No regrets. I think I'm just gonna come vertically with 2 round tubes and just some kind of an angle iron straight across. The whole deal pops right back on like it used to. The thing is, you need all the stuff. You know, I got a good start on it, but you can't commit to anything design-wise until you have all the other elements. So I still got to get rear tires, an engine, and transaxle. It's really just put the pieces in place and see what looks and feels right. I think I could live with that. That's, I don't want it to be too curved because it's gonna look droopy, you know? That works for me. The base design of this was like a beach cruiser style, you know? They weren't like high ape hangers or super low drag bars. I just wanted a nice, comfortable, middle of the road seating position, you know, with your hands right around your shoulder height. Some people can sketch it out, but I just take the metal and bend it around and hold it in place and just see what seems right. This is kind of interesting. If I splice them together like that, that's pretty space-aged. You know, I had about 4 different ideas in 20 minutes, and something happened. I ended up with handlebars. This thing's getting close. It's looking like a trike. So I'm excited to have Kai check it out because now you get a real sense of what it's gonna be.
Ian called me up early today and told me to come over and check it out. He had done a few things to it. Whoa! What the hell?
Made a couple changes, sir.
No kidding. Man. What did you do to this thing?
Well, I started by just making a new frame.
This is not anything like I saw.
No, it was bent. Somebody crashed it. That's the problem. I put it on the table and measured it.
Really?
So that must have been why they took it apart, because that cheesy little frame, I have it over here, was full of lead.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, he got rid of the whole front end, the whole front part of the frame and created a whole new frame. The whole thing just looks nothing like I expected at all. This is crazy, man.
Crazy.
It doesn't look anything like I remember it.
See, this is what was there.
Yeah, right.
They filled it full of lead, but it was bent over like it got hit on the left side.
So that's why it was so heavy, huh?
Yeah, that's why
I was wondering about that.
But yeah, I just bent up some 1.5-inch tube, and I'm just working on the handlebars now.
Yeah, you didn't even use the ones that I had.
They were just too small, so I loved the general shape of them. But you know, I was trying with the nice curved frame. I was trying to get a nice curved bar. I think Kai was pretty quietly impressed.
I wouldn't mind riding this. Or at least try it out.
I think him walking in the door was the turning point. You know, he was all biased, had his own opinions. As soon as you walk in, you check it out, and you sit on the thing, I think he's gonna go for it. I think he's totally into this.
It's pretty amazing. But leave it to Ian, he comes up with this stuff, and I see total potential for this thing now. And personally, I can't wait to see it finished. I should have known.
I was thinking about welding another lever to this shaft, similar to what I did here, but there's not a lot of pressure on the throttle assembly, so I think I could just bend this 90 degrees, just bend this rod straight up and then over. So I saw this trick on Volkswagens. They were using roller pedals on their race cars, and I've seen a couple other people use skateboard wheels. So I think it's time to retire this unit. My days of small board riding are over. I think the skateboard gas pedal is perfect. I'm gonna do the same with the brake and the clutch. Okay. It actually works. Next up, fuel tank. Thanks to Mr. Trikaruni up there, we got this cool stainless steel tank. And the only spot for it I can think of is here where the old one used to go. Basically gonna cut this thing in half. All right, so this thing's gonna go in the vehicle right about here. Glad that this works out. For me, the big concern at this point is just the body. It's in 2 pieces. I want it in 1 piece. All right, I really got this chassis dialed in. Went off on the rear end of it. I got everything buttoned up, cleaned, and painted. Gas tank's in, the transmission's resealed, the foot pedals are all hooked up. Last thing to do is get this body into 1 piece. Got my friend Jack, he's a great upholsterer. He gave me the tip on how to make some seat pans that would help him just move right through this. I'm gonna make a couple templates, cut steel to match, and just deliver them to Jack. The seats are in his hands, whatever he wants to do. He knows what I'm up to. Simple, typical template making. You know, I've got my fiberglass body. I just make a cardboard template on it until it's the shape I'm happy with. You know, it's easier to cut than metal. So you whittle down the cardboard to the final shape, transfer that shape to the metal, cut it and deliver it. You know, I don't think I could have made that any better myself. It's all right. The last part of the operation is this fiberglass repair. Without it, it would look like the body's in two pieces, and it's really just a cosmetic thing. Got all this fiberglass from 3M, and it's time to use it. It's a messy operation, but somebody's got to do it. The fiberglass thing is just a cosmetic deal. I've got plenty of body mounts in place. I just need a smooth surface that I can paint. So yeah, I'm just gonna lay this on, and then I'll cut back. Later, I'll cut back whatever I don't need, but at least it's in place. I like the process in that you can create these complex shapes pretty simply, but it's a stinky, itchy process. You know, it's hot weather, and it's kind of miserable. You know, I like the results, but the process is pretty gnarly. I got all this Elastirap product from Eastwood. It's pretty crazy stuff. It's a liquid rubber coating that you can spray with a paint gun. So it's a sprayable rubber coating that is either permanent, or if you prep the surface correctly, you can peel it off. I think it's gonna be perfect for this trike. I'm setting up a whole series of tape lines that are gonna accent these ridges in the body. I really like the last graphics that were on it, but these new ones I think are really gonna help out the design that whoever created this fiberglass shape. I think it's gonna really complement that. I sprayed the whole thing silver, and just like most of the work I do, I stared at it. Something you would see, you know, in the 60s or 70s before all these special candy paints and all the airbrushing fad got so developed. So that last line comes down like that, and that's there, and yeah, we got it. All right, it's the moment of truth. My big concern was that this stuff would all glue together. Oh, look at that. Perfect parting line. I was worried that it was going to stretch and create rough edges. Quality control. Here he is. What do you think, man? You know, I'm pretty happy with this. It would have been easy to overdo it. So I spent a lot of effort to underdo it. I think it's paid off. Everything here is what I was thinking. The tones are right on. I think if I clear coat the whole thing with this really fine metal flake, it's just gonna give a little pop in the sunlight. And that's it. I think this is pretty classy. It's not overblown. It shows off the body lines. And it's full custom. I got the trike all squared away, got it registered, took it on the Shakedown run. The whole thing was figuring out how to ride this. You don't lean into it like a motorcycle. So before I got on the road, I took it out to the park, did a couple wheelies, a couple slides in the dirt just to see how it felt, how stable it was. And this thing tracks great. The whole thing is that this was purely inspired by other people. There was no check and balance like on other projects. So having the freedom to just do whatever I want, it's really cool. I drove it up here to Rich's in Fraser Park. I felt it was so important to bring it back here and show them, hey man, that you turned me in this direction, and here it is.
To see him come riding in the front driveway with it was fabulous.
Pulling up, I could see Rich's face, you know, he was excited.
That front end is Terrific.
Those are the forks I got from you.
Look at that.
I made them. These are the
Yeah.
shocks. The front rim I got from you.
I didn't know I was inspiring him that great. It was fabulous. It looked great. He did the shocks the way I had told him, and then he improved on them by doing the gooseneck the way he did. The hidden frame is marvelous. That's a great idea on that part. I could sell that idea every day of the week. That's a good unit.
The way I chopped the body back and the modifications I made, he was into it.
That's beautiful.
Well, thanks, man. That was the first time
Hey,
I ever put one of these together. Thanks.
You're a triker.
There we go. We've got a couple old school trikes, new school trike, and Kai has got a brand new Harley trike. He's got it from the factory, fresh, and he's bringing it up here today to roll out with us.
I do test rides for Easy Riders and for another magazine we have called Road Iron. And I happened to get a trike for the first time ever. And the trike is great. It's called a freewheeler. It's brand new for 2015.
Kai was a naysayer to the trike thing, and now here he is. He's driving 80 miles out on his new trike just to check out the scene. You know, it's a great day. We're gonna go for a cruise.
It was fun to watch the trike in action. It was just pieces and parts and, you know, garbage basically that I had sitting in my backyard for I don't know how long, and he made this out of it, and it's pretty wild.
What he's done to it is really great. I want to do something with him.
Rich has got projects all over the place. He's got dune buggies, he's got tractors, trailers, trikes, motorcycles. I got a bunch of crazy ideas. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm over here at my friend Kai's house. Kai hasn't told me much about this project, but I know he's always collecting. He's buying and selling bikes all the time, so I'm sure it's gonna be something cool.
Well, you know my 58 Sportster? Had it for years.
A little worse for wear. What's going on with this thing?
Well, I got it a long time ago. Had the bike for about 20 years almost, I think. It's a 58 Sportster. I tried to restore it at some point and got to a certain degree and then finally gave up because I ran out of A, money, and B, time.
You're not even gonna ride this, who are we kidding?
I'll ride it.
You ain't going nowhere.
I'll take it to a bike show. How's that?
I see what you're riding. Look at that thing. You're outed.
Well, that's not mine. That's a test bike.
Got both of these bikes back to the shop, and I just wanted to be sure that this thing Kai gave me was a runner. I'm all about this deal we made, but I want to be sure it's a driving motorcycle. I figure if it doesn't detonate in the first 1 minute of torture, it's a keeper, so this is the test. You never know what you're getting into, and I just want to confirm my suspicions. This bike is a rocket ship. I gotta get all this extra stuff off of it. First order of business is to pull off all of this bodywork. All I was interested in this bike was the mechanical capacity, and it's a runner. Everything else is gone. My idea for this bike is to create a new fairing and a couple little body panels. I don't want it to be like a stripped down Street Fighter outlaw looking thing. I want it to look more like a cafe racer. Pure potential. When you look at most old school choppers, rigid hardtail style bikes, they have like a round oil tank. That's just what looks cool. This bike is a vintage style, period looking thing, and I thought these water canister filter things were gonna look perfect. I cleaned up Kai's bike and painted the frame. This bike is stripped down, very similar to what I'm doing, so you see all the mechanical components. I want this thing to look clean and right. I don't see an oil filter anywhere on this bike, so that's something to consider when you're building an oil tank. Any bit of abrasive, any steel filing, anything that happens when you're building a tank and is left in there, it's gonna go down to the oil pump and ruin it. So it's critical that there's nothing in here, no dirt, no nothing. It is maybe some junk on Kai's bike. I think I'm gonna fool him. I think it will pass the period correct or whatever test he's looking for. Come on, hellhound. Let's get on to the fun part of the project. I'm really in a good spot on Kai's Harley, so I'm waiting on him to come by. I'm just gonna start working on this until he gets here. It's kind of like the sky's the limit at this point, really. There's a few different ways you could go about doing anything, but I really see this as kind of a road racer. You can see when you're riding this bike, you're up here. I think I want to be more like racing, like this. Aha!
Ian,
Cue the applause.
your
Howdy.
guard dog here.
Kai walks in and it's like a beeline, straight to his bike.
Oh, there it is. Wow, look at it. Wow, it looks nice, man.
Yeah, it's getting close.
To see the bike sitting there on his workbench, I mean, it looks great. You know, it actually looks like a bike at this point. You know, there's still a lot missing, but you can see what it's gonna be.
Kai's looking the bike over, you know, it looks a little different than he saw it last, and the first thing his eyes go to is that oil tank. I'm just sitting back waiting for the response.
I really like the oil tank, man. This looks really cool.
Kai's first reaction was that I went to a swap meet and picked up an old chopper oil tank or something. But upon more developed conversation, it's a little canister that holds a water filter for like a purification system. He was slowly eased into the fact that I took some junk water filters and welded them together.
It's kind of weird because I told him I didn't want any junk on my bike, and then he basically put junk on my bike. But I gotta admit, I mean, he did a good job. It looks great. Check this out. This is
That's
cool.
your little filler. I'll polish that so it's just aluminum color.
Yeah. Knowing Ian, I kind of figured he'd come up with something like that. Damn, looks good.
Kai's bike is missing a number of parts. This is the basket case you heard about. So we're just going through all parts lists, just figuring out what he's gonna have to get and what I can make.
We're going over my bike and talking about different things that are still needed. I sort of glanced around to the other side, and there was his Kawasaki standing there, and I just kind of thought, what the heck? It doesn't look anything like I remember it. I barely recognized it. It was completely stripped down, and he had some weird stuff around it, and it didn't even look like the bike that I had in my garage.
So I stripped off all that unnecessary stuff, and it's half the size it used to be. Spent some time trying to describe to Kai exactly where I'm going with this project, and unfortunately, I'm not that sure, so my argument wasn't very convincing. It's gonna be cool.
Not as cool as this one, I hope.
Well, we'll see.
I can't even picture it. I know he can go crazy with stuff, so I don't want him to go wild on my bike. I just sort of need to rein him in a little bit, you know, if I can.
The end result was that I convinced him that none of the crazy over there was gonna kind of come onto his project, so he was okay with that. The answer is yes. The fiberglass will not float in space. It needs something to lay on. That's all this is. All this gets torn out later. All I'm doing is creating a pile of stuff to lay the fiberglass on. The way I'm laying it up looks like a disaster. A professional would not go about it this way, but I take my inspiration from Ed Roth. This is the way Ed Roth did it with his cars. He didn't do it with foil, he did it with plaster. He roughed out a big blob of something, and then he refined it repeatedly with fiberglass. And that's really where I got this idea from. No fiberglass for dogs. Beat it. You don't even wear safety glasses. How am I gonna let you near this stuff? So this will be a first layer, and the next ones will be put on a little bit more precise. It's a pretty rough looking setup, but if you look at the exterior surface of this, it'll just get more and more refined. The whole idea with this is that it is a sculpture, so just like you start off with a big ugly piece of marble, you end up with a thing in a museum. This is the same thing. This is raw potential. So I'm in the heat of the moment, you know, I'm getting down. This is like arts and crafts hour. And Kai shows up on the shining steed. And I'm like, wow. I'm there working on this junky old bike, and he pulls in like Mr. Rockstar.
Hey, hey.
Say, that's a nice bike.
You like?
Yeah.
I have this Harley Heritage Softail because I do a lot of test rides for Road Iron magazine. And so I get a new bike pretty much every month, a different bike, that I then have to ride and photograph for the magazine.
That thing is clean. That's like a pearl white paint, too. That thing's nice.
Yeah. So, what the hell is this, man?
It's arts and crafts hour.
This is,
You never saw somebody make a motorcycle out of aluminum foil and fiberglass?
this looks like it's from another planet or something.
When Kai came in, you know, the bike was kind of half finished, right? I got stopped by his arrival, so it just looked terrible. It's like as if you dropped something right in the middle of the process.
I looked at the Kawasaki and I didn't recognize it. It looked worse than it did before.
The hard thing to understand if you don't really see the process I go through regularly is that it gets pretty loose, so it always looks worse before it looks better, and it's starting to get bad. You can see that I'm pretty proficient at this, so if you want to put some kind of a headset or even a little extra action. In fact, if you want a blob on your handlebars,
I think not.
Kai's giving me the eye, you know, the stink eye, checking out my machine. So I just say, let's put it on the side and we'll get back on your project, nice and comfortable. Kai brought in a headlight and a few other things that were missing for this project. But before we start on the cosmetic stuff, there's a bunch of issues with the front forks we need to deal with. The problem with the fork was somebody didn't tighten it right, so the internal parts came apart. The whole concept here is you have to keep this shock absorber assembly extended fully, but the internal tubes telescope into each other. So I'm trying to push this up through the bottom of the fork tube, and they're just closing on themselves. There's no way to get them out of the top. No, that's the problem. This has to be extended. We were stuck trying to figure it out, and Kai came up with an idea.
But see, because of gravity, it keeps this rod down, and we need to have it come up. So if we could somehow attach this to something like a wire,
You know,
pull
we
it
gotta
in.
Put a rod or put a thread rod on that.
Yeah,
pull it
pull
up,
it up.
put the spring,
Exactly.
press it, and push it.
There you go.
That guy's good, man.
Man, I'm good, huh?
That's why he works. That's why he works with the big magazines.
That's right, that's why I'm making the big bucks. Ian puts a little bolt on there, screws that in to anchor the string, and then we put the whole thing together and pull the string through the tube and up through the top. And it worked perfectly. I was really pleasantly surprised.
It worked.
Ian is a out-of-the-box thinker. He always comes up with solutions to the most complex problems, you know, where you think, well, how the heck did he do that? So for me to come up with a problem where he says, hey, that's great, yeah, that was pretty cool.
This thing worked. We screwed it together, put the finishing touches on the front forks, installed the headlight, and this thing's starting to look good.
Hot diggity dog, look at that. Wow. To me, the most exciting moment at that point was to be able to actually see it on the ground. I was speechless for a few minutes there, you know, after all these many years. It's like, yeah, this is right. This is just the way it should be. Perfect, man. This is awesome.
I think the thing that Kai liked most about it was that it was comfortable.
Well, once you sit on it, the saddle is very, very comfortable. You know, it's just the way it's supposed to be.
Cool, so I can get all these bolts and I'll bolt all this stuff up together.
All right.
But I'm busy on something right now.
What are you doing?
Another mad scientist experiment. So you remember my Sigmund the Sea Monster rear fender? That changed a little bit.
Looks nice, man.
Yeah.
Wow, this is smooth. I took a look at the Kawasaki and I was actually really surprised at what he'd done. Man, it's
getting close.
Nice. I said a few harsh things. Maybe that's what sort of got him to try to work harder on the Kawasaki. I guess whatever I said, it worked because I didn't expect that at all. I really didn't.
I think Kai is finally beginning to see the light, if you will, because he didn't know where I was heading. You know, it's hard to establish what someone's plan is by looking at a lump of fiberglass. So now it does have a look. It looks like a motorcycle, and I think he's starting to respond. So the point I'm up to here is setting up for the old barbecue. Every mad scientist's lab needs their heating element.
Oh, I should have brought my camera, man.
This project is really just a culmination of so many different skill sets I've been working on. You got your metal fabrication, finished bodywork, paint, and now this new plastic forming thing. So I just keep stacking them up. Pretty soon I'm gonna need to get a sewing machine, injection molding for building my own tires. I mean, who knows where it could go. I want to create a really cool acrylic bubble that will represent the windscreen. And Kai's seen me do a lot of things, but he's never there for the process. So I'm gonna have him help me out with it.
I'm ready to crank it up. Do it now?
Yep. This acrylic dome is critical because that's what's trick. My main concern with this whole bike was having like a real fluid line to it, and if you just wrap a piece of flat plastic, the windshield just isn't gonna be the same.
Pretty crazy, man. Works. All right.
Look at that, man. That looks like a racing motorcycle.
I gotta tell you, man, this looks pretty damn good.
I was kind of turned the corner on this. All of a sudden, you could see that I'm serious. I got a plan.
Yeah, it's starting to look like something, man. I can see that he's turning it into a cafe racer, and I get the whole idea now, and I think I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him finish this thing, because now I know he's gonna make something really cool out of it.
Now that he's seen my creative process, I figure we'll switch gears and get creative on his bike. Today's the day. Kai is on his way in, and we're ready to start this bike. I'm really just thinking I'm gonna kind of goof on Kai with this whole thing. There was a whole parts stash I got from my friend Gary, and there was just so much potential on Gary's shelves, I wanted to see it on this bike. I put him on the bike, and it's on. This is a 70s style deal. I don't care if Kai doesn't like it. I like it. No chopper style bike is complete without the ultimate sissy bar. This is just a goof, right? So I'm just gonna take a piece of this rod. It's a little tube, I'm gonna fold it in half. Set that thing up with the cool cat eye lens, tail lamp, voila. I'm really feeling it now. I mean, standing back and looking at this thing, it just needs one more element. Final detail for the mountain holiday. Every motorcyclist needs one. Nothing says commitment like all the details. See what I'm talking about? Not everybody is hip to the trip. It just needs like 10-foot long forks. You're there.
Hey, Ian. How's it going?
Good, man. Got your bike just about ready to start.
Oh, man, check it out.
Did a little restyling.
Holy moly, look at this thing. Fishtails and everything. This is terrific, man. I love this. This is great. When I walked in, I was really surprised at how the bike had changed. Yeah, he may have meant it as a joke, but I was digging it. I was loving it. Man, this is awesome.
The joke was on me. He walked in and loved it. I thought you were gonna hate it. I guess you're into it.
I love it. I love the fishtails. I love the sissy bar.
Well, I was thinking this was just a whole goof with these big fishtail pipes. He loved them, so I had to tell him that, hey, I actually built you a legit pair of drag pipes, something a little mellower. Well, I built this style out of the pipes that you had.
These are the ones you built?
Yes, and I wrapped them with the heat wrap.
The pipes that he made look beautiful. The whole look that he created with those pipes, I thought were perfect.
I set this whole thing up to be ready to run today, so I just pulled off all the parts I was mocking up, getting into my little visualization, put on Kai's proper exhaust. I know that all the electrical stuff's in order. I'm hooking up the battery, and now the big question, does Kai want to do it? Let's fire it up.
Let's fire it up just like that?
You ready to rock?
Primed and everything?
Yeah. Do you want to start this, or do you want me to? It's your call.
I'll start her up. You're talking 20-some years, you know, since the last time, so there was no way I was going to let him do it. I'm nervous.
Kai is all worked up. Remember, this engine was sitting in a corner of his garage for almost 20 years. He's been staring at it, and now he's looking at it, and it's in a motorcycle with everything hooked up. It's showtime.
This is like the moment of truth.
I saw us fire.
All right. And it actually started up, and that was hellacious. I loved it. That was the moment that I'd been waiting for, really, to see that motor working again and listen to it and hear it fire. And
Hey, it worked.
wow,
That was only the fourth kick.
I was totally stoked. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for, you know? 20 years. This is awesome.
Kai's all charged up. He's feeling confident, and I'm thinking, you know, I know machines. We got to get this thing warmed up. I'm ready to start tuning it, you know? I'm going to turn the timing a little bit and start to get it right, and then all hell breaks loose.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Holy, what do you got?
Nothing.
You got any rags or anything? And all of a sudden, it's like, this whole thing just starts up in flames, you know.
I've lit stuff on fire plenty of times. Something, I'll grab a rag, you know, casually walk around the shop. I turn my head and it's a blazing inferno. This thing's been dumping fuel the whole time it's been running. I whip my shirt off, I'm trying to snuff it. No dice, this thing is hot.
I guess you don't have a fire extinguisher, huh?
I got 3 fire extinguishers right on the wall, and I'm like, I don't want to mess up his bike. I know what these things do, so I'm just hoping it'll go out. And that sucker is flaming. It's 7 feet tall. I gotta use the extinguisher. I puffed it lightly, you know, just a little pop, went right out. Sure thing. In the end, we didn't melt anything really. Some of the insulation on the wires got charred up. It's not the end of the world. We cleaned it up, put some more fuel to it, kicked it over again. And it fired up again. It runs good. It's gonna be good to go.
I'm just glad you remembered you had a fire extinguisher. I was looking around all over the place.
I knew where they were, but I'm just like, I don't want to make a mess. It's only Kai's motorcycle. I don't want to dirty the floor.
Thanks a lot.
I was getting carried away with the paint job, just trying it out. I was getting a little disco inferno, you know, just thinking about the flavor. And in the end, I decided I wanted something that was a little bit more fit for the wasteland. You know, just a little more post-apocalyptic, road warrior style bike, and flat black really added to that. The whole deal with this project was the transformation. You saw this kind of very upright police motorcycle, and I just took it all wrong and made it gnarly, a very aggressive machine. I knew what was inside of it, and I just let it out. Kai's bike turned out really cool. We got both bikes out here. They're running good. We're just testing them.
I love the way it looks. I just love the way it looks. It's old school. The general ride itself was exactly what I hoped for. You know, just smooth and has a lot of power. 15, 20 years, this has been in the works, basically. And so took it to Ian, and he got it done, and I'm stoked. Sounds great, man. I love it.
All in all, if I had to pick one, I'm going with the Sportster. It's a little too small for me, but it's just a way cool motorcycle. These Kawasaki's are kind of a dime a dozen. They're super awesome motorcycles, but the class factor, I gotta go with the Harley.
Well, Ian's bike, his Kawasaki, I mean, like I said, I didn't think in the beginning he was gonna do anything with this thing. Ian, as usual, pulls a rabbit out of the hat, or whatever you wanna call it, and I actually got to ride it too. I figured, why not? You know, give it a shot, and I was really pleasantly surprised. It's a cool little bike.
It's part of what I do here is to convert the unwary, the unknowing, the unguided. Just like I did with the trike, Kai came around, doing it the same thing with this Kawasaki. I was trying out these motorcycles just because they were presented. It's not really what I do. I'm ready to get back and build some crazy cool custom cars. Now we're off on a little two-wheeled adventure. This is gonna be fun. This is my friend Kai's chopper. It's a 1980 Harley shovelhead, and this is kind of his baby. He passed a couple years ago, and his wife contacted me saying, hey, you know anything about this? I met Kai pretty early in my career, and he was always a huge supporter of my efforts. Kai was just a really intellectual, interesting kind of dude, and his fascination with Harley Davidson specifically pretty much defined his character. He was heavily involved in the magazine industry as both a writer and an editor, and we pretty quickly became good friends. I remember this bike always being in Kai's garage. Being that he worked for Easy Riders and had a lot of ties with Harley Davidson, he always had these brand new Harleys to ride, and his sweetheart was always in the corner of the shop. I don't know why it got disassembled. This is the result. The proverbial basket case. Valerie asked me if I could restore it, if I could bring it back to life. They have a charity organization now, and this will kind of be something like a tribute to Kai, his life, and Kai's memory. Whenever I was working with Kai, it was always kind of focused on my project, right? Now it's all about him.
I don't want to say it's like the odd couple, but Kai and I being friends for like 15 years, it was sort of like I was the wild and crazy guy and he was the more conservative, mature biker dude.
I'm still not 100% sure which way he's going. I see the fiberglass sort of like dripping off the damn thing, and he can probably work wonders with a Kawasaki, but it's a Kawasaki, you know? It's not meant to look great. And there's only so much you can do, even Ian. I have seen nicer bikes though in my life. I can't say I've seen uglier ones.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Now, I consider it an honor that Valerie would ask me to do this, like in his memory. In talking with Valerie, she was convinced that there's still a bunch more parts of this bike around. For right now, I'm gonna really just focus on the stuff I do have, and it's purely mechanical. The engine is free, it's got compression, and it does kick over. One thing that Kai was always really proud of was this was built by Denver's choppers. You know, it's the real deal. I never noticed it, but on the engine, it's got their timing cover. Denver's was like known for these like long bikes, you know, thin and really long, stretched out chopper style stuff. And I don't know, I'm not seeing that on this bike. So it's like, what's the story? Who twisted the arm and said, I don't want that kind of bike, right? He ends up with a wide glide and the big headlight on the front from Denver's. It's interesting. I'm really digging this back tire, you know. This has got a little bit of oval slots in it. Pretty groovy. All right, let's put some rear suspension on. And last but not least, the old front tire. Now we're getting somewhere. It's starting to look like a chopper, baby. Pretty formidable looking machine. I think I'm kind of like that. Knees in the breeze, bugs in your teeth. It appears that all the mechanical parts, as far as what I could tell, are here. You know, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I don't see why Kai would take his bike apart and just scatter it to pieces. I don't know, it looks good so far. Valerie says she's got some more parts for it. I'm gonna head over there and see what she was talking about. It's got a good look. Little search and rescue mission. I came up solid. Found pretty much everything. This is the rear fender. There's the front fender. Got a tank, and then the little piece that goes between them. And a seat. This bike's never fell over. That's what I was worried about, you know? It's like, oh, that's why they took it apart. It got crashed, right? One of the tanks is destroyed. Nope. I'm digging the paint job. It's a little beat up, though. Seeing all the pieces are here and they're in what appears to be perfectly usable condition, I mean, that's the mission, right? It's like, let's just get this thing dialed in, assemble it, hope the heck it works. Valerie told me that the biker's name was Purple Haze. Mr. Conservative biker guy driving a purple flamed Harley. All right, we see you. This looks like it's been rubbed on something white and it's on top of the clear coat. The question is, can I salvage this paint? Everything's just showing its age. We're all showing our age. It's part of the journey. Look at that, it came right off. It's looking purpler by the second. This paint job is sweet. No amateurs were building this bike. It's got that pearly effect. I think it's gonna shine up real nice. I got this stuff from 3M. I'm gonna go at it with 1,000 grit and then bring it all the way to 3,000 and then polish it. Try not to get into the actual paint, just stay up on top on the clear coat. Try to knock some of these scratches off. Yeah, it looks like I'm not gonna have to re-clear any of this stuff. Yeah, I gotta say that this is a little bittersweet because I was like, oh man, the gates are wide open, right? There's no fenders, there's no tank. Time for me to restyle it. And then that looming voice, don't put no junk on my bike. Thinking maybe some divine intervention or something. Miraculously placed these pieces of the bike right in front of me. All right, one more fender. You know, in my defense, I never put any junk on this bike. I just enhanced it a bit. And I also saved it from burning down to the ground.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Holy shit. I guess you don't have a fire extinguisher, huh?
I got 3 fire extinguishers right on the wall, and I'm like, I don't want to mess up his bike. I know what these things do, so I'm just hoping it'll go out. That sucker is flaming. It's 7 feet tall. I gotta use the extinguisher.
I'm just glad you remembered you had a fire extinguisher. I was looking around all over the place.
No, I knew where they were, but I'm just like, I don't want to make a mess. It's only Kai's motorcycle. I don't want to dirty the floor.
Thanks a lot.
You could say, this is number 2 that I'm saving.
You know, I'm not known for Mr. Polish and Shine, but right now, that's where my head's at. I think it's pretty cool that the bike didn't need a new paint job. 22 years ago, there it was, brand new. 22 years for a motorcycle that's driven, that's a pretty good run. So pretty neat to see it looking identical, just aged.
Yeah, now it's starting to fill out. These tanks look great. I was wondering why the headlight looked like his bug eyes, right? Look how the top of the headlight's sticking out of the can. That's how much they raked it. So that you could see straight. See, that headlight should be vertical. I want to get this thing running. I'm gonna wash these tanks out, charge the battery. Next stop, showtime.
Bike's kind of a unicorn with the wide glide forks and the real skinny tire. It's a different look, but it's definitely raked. It's a chopper, lots of power. It moves right along. They're like giant mini bikes. This bike brings me right back to hanging with Kai. This is exactly how he wanted it to be, you know? He was on 2 wheels all the time. This bike is a real testament to that. I am stoked. I think Kai is smiling from somewhere else. This bike has got attitude. Something about a Harley. They're all shaking and loud and I gotta say, it looks like he just got off the bike yesterday, you know? Just leaving it as is, a fresh cut and polish on that old paint, brought the life back to it. Just a testament to how well he cared for this thing. The mystery still stands. I mean, we don't know what happened, why this bike was disassembled, but I feel really privileged to be a part of it, and instead of it just being a pile of stuff in the corner, it's on display.
I think it's a really good showpiece for their charity foundation. It's gonna get everybody's attention. Here it is, right? Back to life.
That was the one wish that Valerie said. She's like, you know, that was our life together, was the motorcycle and the touring, etc. So for me, it was like, no doubt, I got you on that.
That's all I could say, Kai. I did it. There's no junk on that bike. It's just the way you like it. It's a proper motorcycle. It's a chopper, baby. I'm gonna put some miles down in this desert before I take it back home, though. I'll tell you what, it's got a full tank of gas. I'm ready to move it.